Tell us why you're here today.
Okay, I'm here. I'm the head of the legal committee for Protect Monterey County, the group that passed, organized for Measure Z, that curtailed some of the more dangerous oil activities in Monterey County. And we're here just as we were throughout the process to defend the county, to defend our water, our health, and our future. And we're trying to point out that our county supervisors essentially really let the people down when they decided not to appeal the judge's decision, the Superior Court decision, Thomas Will's decision, that struck down parts of Measure Z. We're confident that Measure Z will be upheld by higher courts, that it's based on long-standing California law that protects the right of counties and cities to curtail oil and other industrial activities for that matter. And so we think the supervisors, whether it was poor judgment on their part, failure of courage, or for perhaps because some folks were influenced by who funds their campaigns, but their argument that they shouldn't be appealing the decision, that it would somehow save the taxpayers money if they got out of the suit, that they protect themselves from legal expenses, we think was bogus. We think that the likelihood of the county having to pay legal expenses is very low, that generally courts only award legal expenses for suits that are brought in the public interest, and the oil companies did this for their own personal private interests for making money. And so we think the supervisors should both be protecting the people of this county and also protecting the democratic process that we went through to pass Measure Z.
And on what grounds do you think the judge will allow an appeal?
Well, the judge doesn't have to allow the appeal. It's the appellate court, the 6th District Appeals Court in San Jose, and we have an automatic right to appeal. And fortunately, Protect Monterey County intervened in the case as a party to the case because we had some fear that the county wasn't genuine in its support for Measure Z. They didn't do anything to curtail dangerous oil activities beforehand. Many of them didn't support Measure Z when it was going through, and so it wasn't surprising to us, disappointing, but not entirely surprising that their support for the people's will is lackluster.
And can you talk a little bit more about that? I mean, the approval of the people to pass Measure Z?
Yeah, well, if you consider that our campaign was outspent 18-1 by the oil industry, there had never been a campaign of this magnitude in this county before. They spent over $5 million to try to defeat Measure Z, and yet in spite of that, with far fewer resources, we managed to garner 56% of the vote of the people. And you can imagine, had we had anything like a match of resources, how high the vote would have been, had we been able to reach all the people the way the oil industry was able to bombard people. So we think that the public knows what they voted for. And I think that was demonstrated in a recent campaign with Robert Rivas' campaign for Assembly, where the oil industry attempted to again intervene in the process and to try to keep him out because they didn't see him as oil friendly. And the public again came in and said, no, we want strong environmental protections and people who are champions.
And this is not the legal process once. Can you describe your dissatisfaction with the judges?
Yeah, well, the judge upheld part of Measure Z. He upheld the ban on fracking and acidizing, which is a good thing. That's about future oil activities that could happen in our county. But what he struck down was the ban on new oil wells and the ban on wastewater injection. And both of them, we think, put the county at tremendous risk. This county is almost entirely dependent on groundwater for its water supply. The water flows from the San Ardo area north through the county and all the way through all the cities of the Salinas Valley, King City, Greenfield, Soledad, Salinas, all the way out to Marina and Seaside into Monterey Bay. So all of our cities, all of our agricultures depend on the underground Salinas River, the Salinas River groundwater basin, and you would think that everybody would be deeply concerned about protecting that from any risk of contamination.
Measure C, a lot of the posters, focused on banning fracking. So from the voters' perspective, you're saying that just upholding the fracking ban is not enough.
No, it isn't, because fracking is about future threat, and it's a severe threat. We don't want to go down that route, but the current activities as we have right now, there are 1,500 oil wells, all down mostly in the San Aro area. Those pose a threat every day to our water supply. They generate millions of gallons of contaminated wastewater from their steam injection process, and much of that water is not being well treated. It's being injected into aquifers that were on the federally protected list of aquifers. Now the state and the oil companies are attempting to get exemptions to allow them to contaminate these aquifers with the argument that somehow they are isolated from our water supply. But nature has a way of breaking down isolations. And the idea that you can pump contaminated water under pressure, underground, and it's not going to end up somewhere else is really a fantasy.
And today you're planning on making some remarks to the board?
To the supervisors about our disappointment, both with their failure to protect the county, but also for their failure to honor the will of the people. Okay, thank you all for coming today. It's a really critical thing that we are all here to hold our supervisors accountable and to know that we are going to continue to carry the banner of what the people decided here in Monterey County. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Here in Monterey County, against unbelievable odds, an 18-to-1 advantage by the oil company, made the decision that we would ban fracking and acidizing, prohibit new oil wells, and phase out wastewater injection. The people knew well what they were voting for. It was probably one of the most heavily debated issues in this county's history. The oil industry made it obvious that there was an important issue going on here. And in spite of all their opposition, we prevailed with 56% of the vote. The oil industries did not honor that. As you well know, they filed 6 lawsuits against Measure Z. And unfortunately, Judge Wills of the Superior Court rendered a decision in March that only upheld part of Measure Z, the ban on fracking and acidizing, but struck down the other 2 provisions. We had expected that the elected government of this county would respect the will of the people, would do their job and defend what the people decided. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, the supervisors have decided that they will not stand up for what the people decided. Will not stand up for the will of the people, will not protect our water, health, and future. So they have declined to appeal judge's decision. Fortunately, we will be appealing the judge's decision. Protect Monterey County intervened in the case because we were not confident of the commitment of our elected representatives to honor the will of the people. And it's fortunate that we did so, because now we have the right to appeal this decision, and that's what we are doing. And we're confident at the end of this process that the higher courts will uphold the right of this county and all cities and counties to make decisions about their future. And especially given that all over this country and probably all over the world, communities are going to be making decisions about the oil industry in order to protect their water supply, which is precious, and also to protect the stability of our climate. That's why even the Pope in the Vatican issued an encyclical about how important this is, and he himself was talking to the oil industry, trying to find their better angels, which I think he's going to have to work hard to find. Well, thank you very much for all being here. Demetrio is going to say a few words as well.
Hola, ¿cómo están todos ustedes? Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Yo soy Demetrio Pruneda, soy miembro de PMC y estoy aquí para recordar a nuestro pueblo que en noviembre de 2016, 73.787 votantes votaron para pasar medida Z. Y eso fue un voto muy grande y muy importante para este condado. Sin embargo, nuestros supervisores, los que representan al pueblo, no quieren cumplir con el deseo de los votantes de Monterrey. Y queremos aquí hoy, este día, decirle a los votantes, a los supervisores, que no estamos de acuerdo con lo que están haciendo, porque le están dando helado a las compañías de petróleo y aceite. Pero nosotros, el PMC, vamos a apelar esa decisión que van a hacer ellos o que ya le hicieron, y vamos a llevarlas a cortes más altas. Y estamos muy confiados que las cortes van a ver el punto de vista de los votantes del condado de Monterrey. Muchas gracias.
¿Tu nombre?
Demetrio Pruneda,
¿Perteneces a?
PNC Protect Monterey County.
¿Este rally por qué es?
Este rally es para avisarle al pueblo que los supervisores que tienen la responsabilidad de cumplir con los deseos de los votantes del condado de Monterrey no lo hicieron. Ellos están tomando el lado de las compañías de aceite.
¿Por qué? ¿Qué hicieron?
Bueno, nosotros, como todo el pueblo sabe, que en noviembre de 2016 hubo una votación para cerrar todos los el drilling, el fracking que está empezando aquí en el condado de Monterrey.
Pero dicen que no hay fracking en
Eso es lo
Monterey
que
County.
dicen ellos, pero de lo dicho a lo hecho hay muchos hechos. Nosotros tenemos evidencias que han contaminado el agua, y el agua es muy importante para el condado de Monterrey, no únicamente el agua que nosotros bebemos, pero el agua que se usa para nuestra agricultura.
Los supervisores dijeron que no iban a apelar, que iban a... O sea, un poquito de historia. La Corte Superior decidió tal, los supervisores decidieron tanto y ahorita ustedes deciden.
Bueno, un juez hizo la decisión que muchas de las cosas que nosotros queremos que sucedan bajo la medida Z no van a suceder. Y luego, para acabarla de amoler, los supervisores, que son los que deben de estar representando al pueblo, también le dieron el lado a las compañías de aceite, y nosotros creemos que eso no es justo, porque, como te digo, los supervisores están aquí para cumplir con los deseos y con la votación de medida Z, no para ayudarles exclusivamente a las compañías de aceite.
Entonces, ¿ustedes qué es lo que piensan hacer?
Nosotros vamos a apelar la decisión, vamos a continuar la lucha, y estamos muy confiados, según la información de nuestros abogados, que las cortes más arriba van a ver el punto de vista de los votantes del condado de Monterrey.
¿Esa apelación va a ser con qué corte?
No tengo esos detalles.
Oh, it's not going to. Oh, it's going to be going to the appellate court, 6th District Appellate Court in San
Corte de
Jose.
apelación.
Corte de apelación.
Ok, entonces esta demanda, ¿qué va a ir?
Va a ir a la Corte de Apelaciones, y ahí tenemos mucha seguridad que ellos van a ver el punto de vista de los 73,877 votantes que votaron aquí en Monterrey.
Entonces, ¿qué es lo que ustedes quieren? ¿O cómo está afectando esta situación a los residentes del condado?
Queremos que implementen la medida como fue escrita, porque tomamos mucho tiempo y mucha dedicación en ver que todo lo que estábamos nosotros pidiendo en la medida era legal, y que no íbamos a tener problemas que los supervisores no la implementaran.
Ok, pero ¿cómo está afectando eso? ¿El agua? ¿Qué más está afectando?
Bueno, en el punto de vista de todos nosotros que votamos por ella, está afectando el agua, está afectando el aire que respiramos, y está afectando la comida que comemos. Y eso tiene serias consecuencias, mayormente para las próximas generaciones.
Hello, thank you for letting me speak on behalf of Measure Z. The oil companies lie and have lied. The oil companies lie and have lied to the supervisors of Monterey County to further their agenda of oil and weed money. The public interest has as much part in this conversation as the private interest. The oil company's threat of making us pay attorney's fee is a lie. That, by their own admission, would only serve the oil company's private interests. The supervisors need to stop listening to corporations who do not live and work here in Monterey County. And they have no interest in our welfare, the voters' welfare. The supervisors need to listen to Brandeis, his exhortation to advocate on behalf of the voters, the public interest, not placate oil corporations. Thank you.
Speak. I'm a member of Protect Monterey County, and on hearing that the board voted to not back up Measure Z in a lawsuit brought by the oil companies, it was a bit confusing to me. When I've got some information about it as just a member of the public, it turns out that what really was happening was that there was a threat of the county having to pay millions of dollars, millions or tens of millions of dollars. And I know, as you know, people who protect the public interest, you have to defend all of the county. You have to balance and measure many things, especially expenditures. And so for us, it's important for us to know that that's what you do to balance for priorities versus fiscal expenditures. It's also your responsibility to stand up for all the people of Monterey County, especially the people who can't really speak for themselves. And not being a lawyer, when I heard that it was really the threat of the oil companies to force the county to pay all that money for their legal fees, and then to discover that because it's a private interest lawsuit, they really don't have standing. They're not a public entity. They're not doing this on behalf of public schools or waste management or something. So going forward, I would really support and hope that you look into what's necessary in order to support all the people. And when you can find it, support Measure Z and the voters' will in passing what's here to protect all of us in the county for now and for the future, especially for our kids. And all fathers know that what you really want to do is protect your children. My dad's about to die, and he spent his whole life protecting me and our rest of our brothers and sisters, and that's what we're hoping that we can get support from you. So thank you.
Can I request that you go in the order that the forms were submitted? We actually carefully submitted them.
Going by the way they were handed to you by our clerk.
Okay, well, it's backwards. So the reason I'm here today is to point out that the press release that was sent out by the county is misleading and disingenuous. It talks about the fact that the county would be liable for attorney fees, and I think that is the premise that was used for settling with the oil industry. And our understanding after doing some research is that plaintiffs who file a lawsuit get attorney fees typically when the other side loses entirely, and also if they are suing in the public interest. The plaintiffs in the Measure Z case, the oil industry, all 6 of them were basically doing this they sued in their own interest, private interest, for profit, and it's very unlikely, I mean, they could request attorney fees, that's true, but very few courts would probably have awarded it. So what I'd like to speak to you about, and I'm very disappointed in, is the county using a false premise as an excuse for not continuing to defend Measure Z. And so I hope that in the future you don't continue spreading misinformation like that. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Margaret Rebecki. I am a member of Protect Monterey County and was active in the Measure Z campaign. I also worked for many months to help pass Measure J in San Benito County and to help establish Monterey Bay Community Power. I am deeply committed to what Pope Francis has called for, care for creation, and for a just and rapid transition off fossil fuels and to renewable, sustainable energies. The people of this region who have worked hard, who have worked to pass these sensible restrictions on the oil industry and and the move towards renewables share my commitment. This is why we are deeply offended by the past comments by Supervisor Luis Alejo, who has falsely accused me and others in the anti-fracking efforts of opposing the Panoche Valley solar project. Neither San Benito Rising nor Protect Monterey County oppose this project. Unfortunately, Supervisor Alejo seems to get his talking points from the oil industry, which has long proven, most recently in the Robert Rivas campaign for assembly, to have no regard for the truth at all. Perhaps that is why the tobacco industry before them are now on trial for lying to the public about the truth of climate change. I am also deeply disappointed that the supervisors, as a body, have decided not to appeal Judge Willis's flawed decision that struck down important parts of Measure C. I believe that this shows a lack of respect for the will of the people of Monterey County. And fortunately, Protect Monterey County will be appealing the decision to higher courts, who we hope will take democracy more seriously. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Susie Bradley and I live in Pacific Road. I guess we all say the same thing. When we, the residents of Monterey County, voted for you, we wanted you to be our voice and to speak on our behalf. You have an obligation to defend the voters' decisions, all the way up to the state Supreme Court. But instead, you are shirking your responsibilities by giving in to the oil companies' bullying tactics. Now you're letting the oil industry have their way, and you're letting us down. You're ignoring your duty as representatives of Monterey County voters. In 2016, when we voted for Measure Z, we made a decision to protect our water, our health, and our future, and our children's water, health, and future. Do you want to tell me that my vote and the votes of thousands and thousands of people do not count because the oil companies don't agree with it? That's not right. That's not democracy.
Yes, my name is Andy Shaw from Aromas. There's a crisis of confidence in governance in this country. At the highest level, we have a president who seems to be unmoored from reality. And here at the local level, we exercised one of the most powerful and important rights under California's Constitution, a Constitution that you all swore an oath to defend. Because no action was being taken to protect our environment, the people of this county took unprecedented action, gathered unbelievable numbers of signatures, and prevailed against unbelievable odds to pass with 56% that initiative. And every district except for one in this county voted for it. Had the resources been similar, it probably would have been a higher vote. And our concern is that with a little pressure and a little threat from the oil industry, you folded in your defense of the will of the people. Some of you, I know, probably argued strong to stay in the case and to continue to fight for what the people wanted. But I think that this shows I don't know whether it's a moral failure or whether it's a strategic failure. But what it does is it further increases people's lack of confidence in the electoral process, creates more cynicism, and puts us in a better place where we can be violated by the likes of what we see in Washington, D.C. People have to believe that when they engage in the political process that it matters. And I think that you should reconsider
and you have the right to do that, to reconsider and get back into the case. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Jan Schreiner. I am part of Protect Monterey County. I'm also sitting on the board of Marina Coast Water District, but those board members have not approved these comments. This is my own comments as a resident of Marina. As a resident of Marina, I've chosen that community in part because of the proximity to the ocean. I spend a lot of time in and on Monterey Bay, and I share a global vision with a number of friends who come from all over the world. So my friends in Fiji are telling me because the intensification of weather systems, they are no longer rebuilding in those areas of cyclones. They're moving people uphill. The sea level is rising, and they're finding that also in the Netherlands, where my friends tell me they're working on the levees. The tropical areas of Hawaii are suffering in the wetlands in particular. There's greater erosion, like we see here in Elkhorn Slough. When I was volunteering with the Tidal Wetland Project, there's greater erosion. Sea level does not rise like a bathtub rises, right? It attacks first in the low-lying areas, causes greater erosion, and things deteriorate that are human-built because of it. So locally, we do have this wonderful vision of the Monterey Bay Community Power for reducing the carbon emissions, for cleaner air and renewable energy resources. The state of California has also created the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act to protect our aquifers, manage our groundwater better. And these are the visions that I'd like to share. This is for clean air, for clean water, for renewable energy, and healthy aquifers. And to avoid the appeal for the recent Will's decision about implementing Measure C completely is a disservice to that vision and to the will of the voters. And so I hope in the future you will find ways to mitigate the damage that has been done.
My name is Michelle Rainey, and my concern and why I got involved in Measure Z was because our water supply is limited and needs protection from the oil industry. This county needs water much more than it needs the few jobs the oil industry brings. The Tri-County JPA that was created for sustainable power can bring jobs to replace any oil industry job losses. I am beyond disappointed that you all chose to not support this measure on appeal and cave to the oil companies. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, 73,877 or 56.7% of the citizens in Monterey County voted to pass Measure Z in 2016. This in spite of the fact that the gas and oil companies outspent us by 18-1. These 73,877 voting citizens that tilted the scale for a Measure Z victory deserve more respect and consideration from you. I want to kindly remind you that you are elected officials that work for the voting citizenry of Monterey County, not the gas and oil companies. In the final analysis, in giving up its chance to appeal, the county is doing a disservice to the law, the environment, justice, democracy, and the people of Monterey County. However, Protect Monterey County is confident that Measure Z is valid and that courts will ultimately uphold the law. Respectfully, Demetrio Pruneda.
Hi, the name is Judy Karras. If it was Spanish, it would be Caras, Mikasa, or Sukasa, but it's a Greek name. My father, Sam Karras, was on the Board of Supervisors from 1984 to 1996. It's Karras, and I always tell the students when I'm substituting that it's Karras, but thank you anyway. First, a thank you, and then a comment. My thank you is for the budget that you passed, preserving money for the, giving direction to use $500,000+ in the SB Health Realignment Fund balance to retain 7.5 animal service positions for the next budget year. I really thank you. I thank Jane Parker for giving me this information. I know it was very difficult to have to deal with the funding you have and fund the safety net measures. We're a rich state. We actually have, like what the 6th largest economy in the world, and yet we don't have money to end homelessness. It's unbelievable. We need an oil severance tax. We're the 3rd or 4th largest oil producing state in the country, and we have no oil severance tax. It would take care of so many needs. Okay, thank you very much for funding many programs that we need in the county. I could name them, but I don't have time. Monterey County Free Libraries, I value so highly. Thank you for giving them funding. My comment is that Measure Z was passed, and like the Coastal Act that was passed in the 1970s, which created the Coastal Commission, that was a mandate to preserve the coast. And if there had been a lawsuit that was that would have challenged it and been successful, we would not have had the protections that we now have that protect our beautiful coastline. And I'm very sorry that the county has not come on to join the appeal with all of us that will be working for the appeal, the lawyers that will be going forward with this, because there was a mandate. We care about the environment. I'm going to go pick berries in Gizditch, and we know that the aquifer, the water that is used in the county to grow all our foods, we want to preserve this aquifer. We don't want it to become polluted by any kind of leakage or anything that might happen from oil. And climate change is real. We need to go in the other direction. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Denise Kushner, and I am a member of Protect Monterey County. In light of the recent decision by the county not to appeal the court's ruling on Measure Z, I want to state the reason why PMC, Protect Monterey County, is appealing. Actually, we have the law and legal precedents on our side. The courts have upheld the authority of counties and cities who have prohibited drilling new oil wells. Land use regulation is in their jurisdiction. So we believe that the legality of Measure Z will prevail on appeal. Thank you.
Good morning, supervisors. My name is Beverly Bean from Salinas and a member of Protect Monterey County. I was disappointed that you all, our supervisors, decided not to appeal the decision by Judge Wills against most of Measure Z. This ballot measure passed by the voters in 2016 tells you that our citizens want to protect our water resources, our environment, and ourselves from oil industry pollution and encourage the changeover to renewable energy. You are supposed to represent the people, but you are seemingly intimidated by the power and wealth of big oil. Your press release says you did this to avoid the potential of millions of dollars in attorneys' fees and costs. We well know that an appeal is not nearly as expensive as the initial court battle, which you've already been involved in, and that it is a real stretch for the oil companies to claim attorney's fees when they've admitted time and again that their lawsuit is only about their profits. It is unfortunate that the county caved to these threats by big oil, because we remain confident that Measure Z will be upheld on appeal, and that is why PMC is going forward to the appeals court to defend Measure Z. You can still change your minds and join us.
And the oil company spent millions to say no to Measure Z, and we didn't listen to them. That should tell you that the people support Measure Z. We're doing everything we can to defend it. Do they care about our environment? No. Do they care if they cause earthquakes? No. All they want is more money. And I read a while ago that California is shipping oil to other states. So we don't need the oil that they want to get so they can make more money. Maybe in a few years we will need it. And maybe by then we might have a better way to get it if we do need it. But there's no need now. Do they care about our environment? No, they just want more money. So please support Measure Z. It's what the people wanted. In spite of being outspent by millions. Was it 18-1 they outspent us in voting dollars? So please. Well, one last point, I've mentioned this once or twice before, we should have a executive meeting every day.
Hi folks, good morning. Thanks for everything you do. You've been hearing from a lot of really great, important people out here. A whole lot of people pulled a whole lot of heroics to get Measure Z passed by a remarkable margin. And, you know, I don't want to see the thing end in ignominy, or however you say it, ignominious ending with big oil buying off our democracy. You folks are the last stand against that happening. And I'm not here to, you know, I'm disappointed. We're all disappointed the way it's gone so far. I'm not here to say how disappointed I am or try to shame you. I'm thinking redemption. And I was actually interested to hear from a couple people that maybe there's a chance for you to change your minds and see the light and come around and get with it on implementing democracy. That's what this place here is supposed to be about. So, yeah, let's, you know, and the technical points have been made, you know, that they are suing for private reasons, not for the public benefit. They can't get their legal fees, you know, covered by us. So, you know, let's man and woman up here and do it. Get her done. Thanks.
I'll be so quick. I have a hard time keeping up. West Salinas resident, president of the Salinas Homeless Union. Wanted to let you know we did talk a little bit with the city. I did ask that each of your offices to support trying to stop this ban. There will be a second reading. And like I said, here's a plenary meeting with Councilman Barrera, so at least he's trying, which is more than I can say for anybody else. The grand jury report, you know, in the very last line says it is a joint problem between the peninsula cities, all 12 cities and the county. And just sloughing it off, ignoring it, making it somebody else's problem, made this domino effect where Salinas, the county seat, where you have to have access to your people to connect them with services, you're going to let that fly by? I hope you come Monday night, 6 to 7:30, Salinas City Hall, and Tuesday, write something, let them know to stop it right now. Take it off the agenda altogether. That's what needs to happen. Obviously, you need to change your own direction because you've been feeding off your own trough, cannibalizing off of people, making money off the whole thing. This way, environmentally, people directly, it's all about money. You need to change your direction. You need to do better. And you need to realize that principles above personalities, principles above all this money, you need to be doing the right thing. Stop doing this candy trick for a treat stuff, man. Grow up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about you gathered like 26 people here. What's the purpose?
Well, we're trying to urge the supervisors and remind the supervisors that they have a responsibility to the people of Monterey County who exercise their right, their direct democratic right, to pass an initiative to enact law to stop certain dangerous oil activities in our county. That's what our folks did, in spite of big resources, huge resources by the oil industry against us. And they have an obligation to see that the will of the people is enacted.
What do you think is the impact if they don't overturn the decision?
Well, right now what's happened is, we have a judge who struck down part of Measure Z, and so it needed to be appealed to the 6th District Appellate Court. And the county supervisors failed to stay engaged and appeal that decision. We're very fortunate that our group, Protect Monterey County, the citizens group that brought Measure Z, has the right to carry that appeal to the next court. But it would have been far better if the county supervisors had taken the vote of the people seriously and not been intimidated by the oil industry and not given us a false argument that they were trying to protect the budget, trying to protect our money, and that's why they got out of the process. Because that was part of the real reason. The oil industry was very unlikely to be able to get money from the county.
So right now you're going to appeal to the which court?
It's called the 6th District Appellate Court, which is in San Jose. It covers the 4 counties, Santa Cruz, Santa Clara, Monterey, and San Luis.
Are you going to start that process?
We've already filed our appeal, so we haven't dropped the ball like the county.